time to have a little fun, Dave.
Let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. The 2020 NFL Draft will officially begin Thursday, April 23rd, and it ends Saturday, April 25th. As far as we know, it's a go. Virtual.
Everybody's mad.
Yeah, it's a virtual. It will be a little different, but nonetheless, excited.
Yep.
So, Dave, let's have some fun.
All right. So this is our version of a mock draft. Now, you're not going to hear all this stuff kind of going on behind the scenes because we don't want to waste your time. But Bill and I are going to play a little game of the first round here. And here's our deal. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to draft the first round for all the teams. What we're doing in between, we're going to announce our picks. Am I going to take the odd?
You take the odd.
So I'm going to start off with the first pick in the draft, and I'm going to explain what I am. We're not going to get too verbose with this. We're not going to use a whole lot of words, but hopefully it gets a little fun and interesting. Here's the only rules in our mock draft. We're not going to get into making draft day trades, though we both believe there will be draft day trades, particularly
not for this one.
in day one. But we're not going to do that because
this is 1.0.
Yes.
Tradeless.
Yes, so we're going to do this only because then we have to figure out values of trades and where the rounds go and blah blah blah. We don't want to do all that. So we're just we're doing this off the cuff. So just understand that it's a chance for you guys to just pick on us, tell us how dumb we are, and then when we're right, we're going to stick it in everybody's face.
Again, these are people that we believe that they're going to that are in our opinions who they should draft. It doesn't necessarily mesh with what a lot of the mocks out there say or what a lot of the pundits or experts are predicting or saying. This is what we think personally as fans, as so far as to say aficionados, because we enjoy all aspects of the game, college, pro, fantasy. Told Dave just got the renewal for the league for next year. Yes, already.
Which will be played.
It will be played.
So here's the thing. So what we're going to do is after I'll lead off, I'll give my draft pick, I'll give my explanation, give you whatever detail I feel like you might need, or at least understanding where my mindset is with it. And then we're going to cut the mic. We have a clock here started because it's all about reaction. We want to keep each other off balance. We're going to have 3 minutes. Is that what you want to do? Let's do 2 minutes. Let's make it tough. Let's do 2 minutes.
Yep.
You're not going to hear the 2 minutes because we don't want to bore you. He's not going to talk to me. He's not going to tell me who he's drafting. I'm not going to tell him who I'm drafting until he hears it on the mic when you hear it on the mic. And then he's going to have 2 minutes with which to respond with the next team. So again, I'll go over it. We'll add one other piece. I'll make my initial pick. I will tell you what I'm thinking, and then I will announce what the next pick is as far as the team, who the team is. And then you will start with your pick. You announce it. You'll announce the next pick. So we're going to do this. We're going to do our own dumb mock draft. Mock drafts are stupid. We both agree with them, but they're fun because it's Corona season, and what the hell else do we have to do?
That's right.
So just shut up, listen, and then rag on us afterwards.
And we will probably dice this up by picks. We'll try to get through as much as we can in the first round, but we'll dice them up and let you know when we put out
if it gets
what
a little
number
lengthy.
Picks. Yeah, we don't want it to be too lengthy.
All right, so here we go. We are going to start right now.
The number one. Oh,
go ahead. I'm ready. Yeah, go ahead.
The number one pick. You don't get so many minutes because you've had all off season to decide as a team.
Yep.
The number one pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. The Cincinnati Bengals are officially on the clock. Dave?
The Cincinnati Bengals select with the number one pick in the 2020 draft a kicker out of Florida State, Roberto. Never mind. Or wait, no, is that Robbie? No, Roberto?
I
is
don't
that the
care.
brother?
That's just terrible.
All right. Anyway, I'm going to go. It's not going to be exciting and pick one. I'm going Joe Burrow. Cincinnati's got to build something. As much as I believe the best player out there in the draft, straight up for position, is not this guy. I know that might be blasphemy to some. You can't skip out on Joe Burrow. He just did too much. He's got just the right type of personality. I believe he can handle the pressure of the fact that he's going to have a rough couple of seasons, I think, to get them right. But I also believe he has shown an ability, between his situation at Ohio State and moving to LSU in order to weather some of the challenges that come with being the number 1 pick overall. You'll remember when I talked about it, I gave you Peyton Manning's stats. I think it was something like 26 touchdowns to 28 interceptions. I think Joe Burrow is going to be looking at something somewhat similar to that. But I think he can weather it. I think he's the guy. Yes, I'm scared of the fact that he is a one-year wonder to some degree. I don't believe his mind is weak like that, like we've seen in some other quarterbacks. I believe he is mentally strong, and so I'm going to take him with the number 1 pick, and I am going to put the Washington Redskins with the number 2 pick on the clock.
All righty. With the 2020 NFL Draft number 2 pick. Again, not really a surprise, but the Washington Redskins will take Mr. Chase Young, edge rusher, Ohio State University. I'm sure you agree he's probably the best overall player in this draft. I've heard inklings of some people trying to shoot holes in his game, especially with his performance when he came back from his little silly suspension in my mind. But look, this guy's a freak. He is a game wrecker. He can change games with the way he plays the game. And right now, the Redskins, I don't think they really have any of that on their defense. The sack masters on that team are getting long in the tooth, and guys like Kerrigan.
Yep.
They need pressure, and in a division, one that I still think going into this season is up for grabs. Okay, I don't think that though the Eagles have kind of been the team to lead the division, and the Cowboys maybe close behind them. We saw the records of these teams; they're not as daunting of a task to get through and own this division. Someone just really needs to step up. It's been a minute since you've had double-digit wins. And one thing that they are in severe, they need their defense to be better in Washington overall, period. And if they don't have the pieces just yet, you can get a game-changing guy like this to start to help. We talk about it all the time, how the secondary, a really good secondary can help a defensive line, and it goes the other way. A really good defensive line can help a secondary. So I think, you've got pieces like Okudah who could also make sense for them at cornerback, but I think a game changer like Chase Young to come in right away is I think, look at the 49ers. That's if this team's going to start to rebuild, I think you need to do it with a guy like this. Okay? Let's see. The number 3 pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions from the NFC North. You're on the clock, Dave.
All right, with the number 3 pick in the 2020 Draft, the Detroit Lions select Isaiah Simmons. Oh, that hurts, Daddy. That hurts, Daddy.
You dick!
All right, so let me tell you why. Number 1, you said this all year long, and I think you've been 100% right. There are 2 guys on defense that changed games in the NFL or in the NCAA last year that coming into the NFL. And we mentioned Chase Young. You already took him with the number 2 pick. Detroit. Think about Detroit for a minute. What's the last dominant defensive player Detroit has had? One where you're just like perennial Pro Bowler. Maybe you can go Ndamukong Suh. But
maybe Ziggy.
Yeah, they've really not had that guy that you've got to completely wrap your game plan around. Popular pick here is Jeffrey Okudah. You sent me something from PFF that I thought was kind of interesting. We were talking about Eli Apple. And you as a Giants fan have always been a little bit weary of Eli Apple for good reason. Never panned out as the pick that he was. I think he was a top 10 or 11 pick that year. Here was the interesting thing. So PFF, again, I'm always careful to do this, but I thought this was kind of interesting. Since 2015, they've rated the coverage grade on D-backs, okay? The D-backs include Eli Apple, Garyon Conley, Marshawn Lattimore, Denzel Ward, and Jeff Okudah. All right? You use this to show me that Eli Apple actually had the lowest grade of the four at 82. Okay? Give you an idea, going up to 2016, Garyon Conley, 89.2. He was recently traded this year from the Raiders to, where did he go again?
Conley?
Yeah, they traded him. He go to Houston? They traded him.
Yeah, I think he went.
Yeah, I remember they traded him. It was early on in the season. Marshawn Lattimore, Garyon Conley was an 89.2 coverage grade. Marshawn Lattimore, one of the best cover corners in the NFL, 89.9. Denzel Ward, he had 92.2 coverage grade, the highest coverage grade. Jeffrey Okudah, 85.9. Of those five, he had the second lowest, and Eli Apple going to a guy that, never lived up to his contract, all the way to a Marshawn Lattimore. Denzel Ward, probably jury's still out a little bit on him, had the two highest grades of the group. Detroit is not in a pass rushing position where a shutdown corner is going to make the difference on this team. I'm concerned about that. Is he a beneficiary of playing corner for Chase Young? Now, there's a lot to like about Okudah, but I need a game changer if I'm Detroit. I've got to change the needle. This is a team that, but for the woes of Cleveland, is the doormat of the NFL. Never seen a Super Bowl. I want a guy that for the next 10 years, his jersey fills the stadium every week. And so, with that, I take Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson. I don't care where he plays as long as he's on the field. So that leaves you with the number 4 pick in the draft to your New York Football Giants. You're on the clock, my friend.
All right. With the 4th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, my New York Giants are on the clock. I've thought about this a bit, my friend, because you just took the guy that I hope we would take. And since we are not doing any trades, even though I think this is a year of that. If something like that were to happen with Simmons, we better be on the phone looking to trade back. But with the 4th pick in this draft, the New York Giants will select Tristan Wirfs, offensive lineman tackle out of Iowa. Here's the deal. We need it. I know we picked up a couple guys in free agency. We have a good young offensive guard in Will Hernandez. I like him. He's feisty. I think the contract for Nate Solder sucks. I was excited about it when it happened, but after his performance, I don't even know if he was his first year in. I don't know if he was worth half that. I just don't. And we're still on the hook for him. We need a young stud. Now, there's a lot of talk about Andrew Thomas from Georgia, Jedrick Wills from Alabama, Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton is the freaking size, but Solder is kind of freakish in size like that too. And where I see him get beat is, that size not allowing him to have good balance and guys being able to have their way with him, get around him, what have you. I don't want that with the young Becton, and I'm afraid that could happen overall. He really needs to be in the right situation. Andrew Thomas, good, but I don't think he's as good as I don't think he's as sure of a bet. I don't want to draft a lineman this high, but you put me in a situation. I think Wills from Alabama is the guy that is more technically savvy. I think he's great with his hands, but Wirfs is an absolute monster, and right now that's what I need. Somebody that he can get better, but if anything, his size alone and strength can really disrupt edge rushers. So there was, Okudah obviously still out there, exciting. We did bring James Bradbury in from Carolina. It's not like we don't need more help in the secondary, but you went through that stuff, and we picked Eli Apple right around this, early pick when we drafted him out of Ohio State, and he was an absolute bust. I don't want to go down that road again. And the drafting of Eric Flowers, offensive tackle from Miami, for our first pick early made me wary of doing this, but no trades, so that's the way it is. Now, before I end, I did have a little CD Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, just to tell you on my mind.
All
right. We need help there. But first and foremost, we need guys that can, get Saquon back to doing what he can do, give him more confidence, and certainly protect our young quarterbacks. So with the 5th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins, who own this first round, are on the clock, sir.
All right, I won't even stop the tape here. I will keep going. Because with the 5th pick, the Miami Dolphins are going to take Tua Tagovailoa. Here's my feeling on this. If this was Miami's only pick, I wouldn't have gone this route. But Miami is so deep and flush with 3 first-round picks that I believe you can put a few integral pieces in with Tua. I love the fact that, healthy or not, and I do believe he will be healthy, you have Fitzpatrick, who I believe you probably want to try to start the season with, if at all possible. It is going to be very hard to keep this kid off the field, but at least it gives you some protection there. And then the fact that you've got those 2 later picks, I do believe this guy has a solid resume to be a good starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't know that I believe in him to be elite, but this is a team that needs to change its fortunes. This is the year to do it with these extra draft picks in the first round, and I think he is well worth the opportunity to do that. So I'm going to take Tua, and I'm going to put you on the clock with the number 6 pick with the Los Angeles Chargers.
All right, what is this? Number 6. The number 6 pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. The Los Angeles Chargers select Justin Herbert, quarterback, Oregon Ducks.
So not a believer in Tyrod. All right. What do you got?
I think that's all smoke and mirrors, first of all. I think this is going to happen. It just does depend. I even think if Tua's out there, if they wouldn't jump, but if Tua, I still think they would go Herbert if he's available. I mean, he's a West Coast kid. You know how I feel about it. I talked about him all year long for Oregon. Last year, I was hoping he was one of the top quarterbacks coming out in the draft, and I was hoping the Giants would take him. Decided to stay in school. I don't really have any problems with that. I think he had a good year. I think he's had better years at Oregon, but let's not be mistaken. Under Cristobal, that offense went to way more of a running offense than a throwing offense. And a lot of people are talking about his leadership capabilities. I think this is a kid that, yes, it'll be different. We all know Phillip Rivers is, he's from the South. He's got that Southern draw. He barks. He's very vocal. He's very animated with the way he looks if the receivers aren't doing the right thing. So it'll be very different in that regard, but don't get it twisted. The people at Oregon, his coach, the players said that he was an awesome leader for them. So you don't always have to be this super vocal guy to get it done. Now, you probably want that more in the NFL, and I'm not saying that can't be learned, but I feel that same way about Daniel Jones for the Giants. I don't think he's supremely vocal, but I think slowly but surely he gets more. Look, Eli Manning made a career. He's not a guy that was super animated. I think Herbert is what they need with the type of passing game and receivers they have. They have Hunter Henry, who's one of the best tight ends in the game. They moved on from Melvin Gordon. I think that they do see something with Austin Eckler, but Herbert's a guy that can move the pocket, which is great for a back like Eckler too. He's not. That's I think going to be a big difference in him and Rivers on the field as opposed to the leadership role. I think this is certainly at the end of his career, but really throughout, the awkward throwing style and really statuesque sitting in the pocket, good at maneuvering in the pocket, never really saw him moving. This kid can move, man. It will bring a completely different dynamic to this team. It will allow big play receivers like my boy Mike Williams to get open, and he can sling it downfield to get it to him too. So, as I said, Justin Herbert,
All right.
the new quarterback of the Los Angeles Chargers.
All right.
With the, what number are we on? 8?
7.
7th pick of the 2020 NFL Draft. Carolina Panthers, you are on the clock, sir.
All right, I'm going to keep it going. We actually really haven't much for breaks at this point.
I like it.
So I'm going to go with the number 7 pick in the draft. I don't think this team, again, after losing Bradbury to the Giants, can pass up on the talent. I'm going to make my run at Mr. Jeffrey Okudah. Jeff Okudah, Ohio State cornerback. So here's the thing is I did mention why I had concerns about Isaiah Simmons. The simple fact is, though, Okudah has put together some very, very nice tape. He's put together a good career at Ohio State. Corners are not a dime a dozen. He does have the potential to be a shutdown corner. He's physical enough at the point of attack. He can run with you downfield. Carolina needs those kind of plays. I struggled a little bit. I definitely was feeling defense on this one. They've just invested too much financially at the wide receiver, even though I think wide receiver would have been an area initially I thought they would go. But I'm going to go with Jeff Okudah. And so that puts you with the 8th pick in the draft. The Arizona Cardinals are on the clock.
All right, well, I'm ready. And what we'll do after 8, we'll stop for sure and make sure the 1 through 8 are sent out there so this doesn't get long. All right. Excusez-moi. With the 8th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select offensive tackle Jedrick Wills Jr., Alabama. I'll be honest with you, if he gets to this point, which he may, if it's not between him and Wirfs, this could be the point in the draft, especially as is that there starts to be a run on the linemen. Okay, you're still talking about 2 linemen taken in the top 10 of the draft. I think that Wills, like I said, I think he's very sound, and he's used to a guy similar, blocking for a guy similar to Kyler Murray in Tua Tagovailoa that, moves out of the pocket, just has an innate awareness for, keeping him really off the ground and just being able to see open lanes down the field, even when he moves out of the pocket. Again, he just, without turning around, knows where to be to keep his quarterback upright. And I think it fits well. They need it. They need it bad. They did a lot of things in free agency that I obviously with the biggest move and I think the best move in getting Nuke Hopkins, they re-signed Kenyon Drake. They moved on from David Johnson. You got Larry Fitz still there. You've got the quarterback who's I think got a lot this year coming on. I don't think a sophomore slump is ready, and they spent a lot in free agency on the defense. They need to solidify that line. Getting a guy like this does it right off the bat.
All right. I like it. So where we go?
We're going to stop right there at 8 and cut that up, and then we will pick up for the next cut with you, the number 9 pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars.